Hello, all. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome here. You're going to hear some beeps happening uh, in my room here. I'm gonna mute myself so it doesn't bounce off for you. But welcome to the room here. I'm going to admit everyone into this conversation. It's good to see you all. It's good to spend time with you all here. It is absolutely lovely to see you all. Um, as time goes on, I'll keep inviting or letting people in as others come and join. But it does make me really, really pleased to be in space with each of you. We are here. Okay, sorry. I was like, it looked like DTK had something to say to us. I was like, but and DTK had, like when he says
That was
something,
shouting password to Elaine.
I know, like when I see he has something to say, I'm like, there's brilliance coming out.
Either
Um,
that or you duck. I hear you.
yes. Welcome today to our second melting pot conversation. The melting pot conversations are a series of experimental and experiential conversations designed to give us an opportunity to come together as people and have conversations in a way that we wouldn't normally be able to do. As I say that, I realize that like that's not fully how I want to hold all of our conversations, in the sense that the part of the point of this is to have this be a lot more normal and for us to be able to engage in these conversations in this space and then take those conversations out. I'm Niiamah Ashong. I'm the organizer behind this, and what I do in my day to day is I lead a community of unconventional leaders who have found paths to unconventional success. I look at America as an unconventional country. What I do with those leaders is I help them go through a process of transformation and to really own who they are and bring that out in the world, with a sense of ownership and clarity. And I feel like we're doing that same exact kind of work here on the country level, on the society level. So I'm really excited to be in this space with you. For today, you'll get an opportunity to get a chance to meet each other. I'll spend some time up front, kind of setting us up here. I'll take a few minutes to do that. I think it's important for us to really enter this space together. But just know this here, and I think I want to make sure I'm looking at the camera and saying this here. Uh, I am so glad that you are here. I'm so glad that you are here because this experience is fundamentally different because you are here. We have this opportunity to create with through conversations and through our experience of each other. There's no obligation to be here. Feel free to come for as long or as little as you want. My only ask is that while you are here, be present, be in this moment. If you need to leave early, go ahead. And that's something that like it's actually a part that it might seem like just a courtesy that's being offered, but it's more than that. It's actually part of the tool of restoring soul and giving us a place of restorative community. Your membership, your admission here, your status in our conversation is not at stake based on like how you show up, whether or not you show up in that moment. It's while you are here, we invite you to play full out. So I see I want to make sure I say that here. Come some weeks, don't come other weeks. We're great, right? We will be here. Even if it's me alone, I will be here. And I will hold this space with you with intention until the next time we meet. All right. This space, I want to make sure that we set up this space intentionally in a different way. So I want to take some time for us to come together with some agreements here. Over time, these agreements might become things that we just naturally walk into, or I'll find other ways to get it set up with. But I think it's important for us to take from the outset to come into agreement with each other. Uh, my ask is there are going to be some people who might join later on who don't get an opportunity to agree to agree with us in this particular conversation. My ask is that when they do come and join us, that you continue to uphold the agreements as stated, and there'll be some bumpiness that's involved there. I acknowledge that, and I think that the benefit that we get of being in the space and seeing how we even get to navigate that is important. All right. So I recognize here, just to give you all a little bit of a sense here, I'm going to spend another 5-10 minutes of setting us up here in space, and then you're going to be spending most of your time with each other. We'll have a combination of small group conversations, as well as coming back out here into this larger group in order to have like a full group conversation as well. Right. You'll notice that that there is a recording that's taking place here. When we're in the full group, when we're in this space in particular, the conversation will be recorded, and that's intentional. It's the part of this here is to help make us in a way that even if others aren't able to make it in a particular day, they can still be a part of the conversation. There are people, there are things that will happen. How we have this conversation is a model of the restoration of the soul and the healing of the heart that can take place here. And so, like, we are going to be doing the work, will be in the conversations, but other people will be able to learn from that. I recognize right now that I was just saying, like, I was using language like restoring the soul, healing the heart, doing the work, and though that language right there, I have seen come from a lot of my more liberal friends, right? And I want to just call this out really quickly here, because this conversation is not about politics. And one of the agreements that we have is we choose people ticks over politics. People ticks is politics is how we get things done. How are we going to get it done? People ticks is who are we being as we get those things done? This is our conversation around people ticks. And I wrestle with this. There's some other things I'm doing. I'm doing an intensive in a week here called Time to Heal. And I'm like, I know that this language came from Biden. And will that keep people from entering into the space because it might feel off? And I'm like, actually, right now, I want to call that out. Let's bring that out and make it present. But I honestly would have joined a Make America Great Again conversation 4 years ago if one had been organized for us to understand, okay, if this is where leadership is going, like, how do we all like come on board with that? So I want to open up some space here. I overall, the intent here is it's not about politics, but I think that you're in a space right now where you can be you and bring all of what you have. Sorry, we're not in that space yet. The space is here, but we are co-creating the space where you can be you and bring all that you have. The safe space is not one that is just that I can just bestow. It is something that we collectively need to agree upon and we collectively need to hold. All right. So I felt myself stumbling over words and like, oh, am I saying this here? Is this going to be ostracizing someone? So let me call that out. And I invite you throughout this conversation, throughout the series of conversations, to do the same, to give frame to what it is that you are that you're talking about as much as you need to. And the frame that I would say is give frame from the standpoint of create the space that you need to say what is necessary. I noticed in that particular moment that I felt really boxed in, and I created more space. And the idea, part of what we're doing here is giving you a space where you can practice, but the overall intent is for you to be able to continue to create these types of moments, or be able to continue to be able to speak your truth in a way that can continue to be with others overall. So pay attention. I think what I would say is how we do this conversation, that is for me the lesson. There's like how we do it is it all. So pay attention to what gets done. You'll also get the recording afterwards here, but like take a look at it and say like, oh, how was that treated? Why did he do that? There's almost nothing that I do that just happens. It is a direct result of what I feel the space needs. You can also ask me. You can also ask like what happened there too. This helps me understand to pull out that which I do more subconsciously, such that it can be pulled out beyond. All right. Awesome. All right. So I'm seeing energetically we need to move, we need to shift things around here. So what I'm going to do is take us to a place right now where we can set our space here, and then we'll get into our first small group. All right. When we enter into the small groups, please note that that those conversations are not recorded. So you'll have as much space as you want there. When we come back out into this full group, please just actually I'll get to that point when we come back out. let's go ahead and set this space here. So each of you have decided to enter a different world. The way things work here are not the way that things work in every other part of your world. It's almost like imagine walking through the gates of Disneyland. You've now entered, this space here, right? And I invite you to take that on here because you don't have to play the game the same way that you would normally play, right? Brandy and I were having a conversation the other day, and she reminded me of the movie Jumanji, the new movies here. And I think about Jumanji. I think about the gates of Jurassic Park. We're going on a quest together. We're going on a quest together, and the way that the rules of this game are different. What we have here, I'll set them up in the stance of a couple different distinctions. One. And what I'll do is I'll say the distinction, and if I can just see a show of hands here, and if you can turn on your video, great. If not, you can just put in the message in the chat to let us know we're on the same page. One, we're going to choose questions over answers. Questions over answers in this space. This is an advice-free zone. Do not try and be helpful or give advice. Like, please do not. That is the least helpful thing you can do in this space here. Right. And there's a reason for that. There's an element of paternalism that comes along with it that I know that you don't and you don't. We are about experiencing the freedom that comes of being of people, and not just experiencing. I'll let you in on a little secret, confronting ourselves with the freedom that we have. We're in the space of that confrontation. And so my invitation here is for you to choose questions over advice and to really lean into being into an advice-free zone. If you feel the urge to give advice, I invite you to just explore what that might mean for you instead. Why do you feel that urge? And then allow the moment to continue to pass by. There'll be a lot more that you get from that in the escape of this conversation. Is that something we can agree to in this conversation? Great. All right, I'm seeing nods here. Saba, my invitation is you can send a link. You can unmute yourself. If there is, because you're not on video, I'm going to take, if you can actively agree, let me know. If not, I will look for you to actively disagree. But it's a different position. I just want to make sure I'm keeping you in this conversation. There's also like reactions that you can use or so forth. But I want to make sure that you know that we are looking to be in agreement with you. The second agreement then is a distinction around curiosity over convincing. Thank you, Saba. Thank you. All right, great. You're in the car. So what I'll say is that if there's anything that you need to disagree with, please actively disagree, and we'll take it. We understand. Thank you so much. So we choose curiosity over convincing. And so in this place here, this is like, we're not trying to help anyone else think the way that we're thinking. This is actually a place for us to be able to share what's happening for us and to give people the gift of understanding more in depth around what's happening for them internally. The reason for this here is that we're talking about the hearts and souls. We're not talking about changing the minds of people. If we were trying to convince, we would be in the mind space, right? Like the problem that we are taking on requires a different set of tools. And I want to make sure that we are bringing the right tools to address what it is that we have the opportunity for. Curiosity over convincing. If people are interested in that, can you raise your hand here? Awesome, thank you, I see agreement. Courage over confidence. This is a place to be truly seen. The healing process actually takes place from being seen here, from knowing that you belong, from knowing that like you are a part of this, and also the ownership of, hey, I can actually make a difference. This is intentionally part of the process. So throughout here, you're going to be invited into conversations where you have the choice. You are confronted with your freedom and how you choose to play the entire time. You'll have the choice of how you want to play. And I invite you to choose to lean into the discomfort, the fear, the vulnerability, and choose the courage there, as opposed to either having the confidence already or portraying confidence. All right. Are we in agreement around courage over confidence? All right. I'm going to look through really quickly here to see what else I need. There's only two more actually, so I'll make sure we get this. The next one here is depth over scale. And I almost went into scale mode myself. And that depth over scale is really like allowing ourselves to take the time to slow down. I've made this conversation 90 minutes this time out front, so we can have more time in small groups and we didn't have to be rushed. I know that the work that we're doing here may not seem like it might scale, but I know each of you are leaders in your own circles of influence, and the depth that we're able to get to, the place that you're able to get to here, will continue to have tremendous impact outside. So the invitation of this is to focus on what's happening here in this conversation right now. And rather than trying to see how do I scale this out in the world here, if you can do the work in this space right now for the next 90 minutes, then or 75 minutes, like you'll be able to take that out beyond that. We can have other conversations around scale too. Okay. Are you in agreement on depth over scale? Wonderful. All right, I'm seeing all hands. And then the last one here for today is possibility over problems. And in our space here, we choose possibility over problems. The distinction here is when we're looking to solve problems, they're typically based on problems of the past, and they generally are approached with an incremental approach. It's how do we fix this issue here, and we can get incrementally better. The purpose of these conversations are to actually help us evolve and the evolution of ourselves as individuals, as leaders, and as a nation requires us to be looking in a different direction and to continue to say, where is it that we are heading? And what is it that we truly stand for? What is the possibility that we're looking to create? Through that alignment, we can then come back and look at the problems that we have and see. Oftentimes what I find is that the problem that we have is either mitigated or irrelevant towards the actual end goal that we have in mind. So I wanted to give us a space to orient ourselves towards that. And I think I need to give that space, because otherwise it may seem like, oh, we're not rooted in reality. You're being optimistic. You're not looking at what the actual issue is here. And I want to give space for this here because we need to be able to look at this from a new perspective, from a different perspective, so that we have additional tools and different options available to us when we go through it. And on our day-to-day, we get to deal with problems. In this space, we're going to be focused on possibilities. Any questions on that one there? Great. Can I get agreement of possibilities over problems? All right. My invitation is, that's the last one agreement we'll set up for this place. But my invitation is, at any point throughout here, hold me to it and hold yourself to it. See where this comes out. See where you might be like, oh, I want to convince. And you're like, oh, wait, hold on. I guess I should bring curiosity. Feel what that feels like in your body. See where those moments are. Because there's multiple things happening in this conversation. It's the conversation we're having, but more importantly, it is how we are having the conversation. And the places where you feel that resistance is a wonderful place to explore, because that's going to open up new channels of being able to connect with yourself and with others in the future. So let's do this here. I would love to. I think we're good. I think we go. Let's go ahead and get ourselves into some conversations. What I'm going to do today is that we're going to follow a series of conversations as set out by Peter Block, who wrote the book Community: The Structure of Belonging. None of these conversations in particular are geared toward a specific topic or issue that is taking place right now. Like, the question you're getting is not like, how do you feel about this or anything like that. However, you have it. I invite you, this is where courage over confidence comes in, to use this time to explore whatever you need to explore. So you can bring in the topics that matter to you as it relates to this conversation, so you can continue to anchor it and play with it in both ways, right? But I want to give you a heads up that in case you're expecting a question to be very issues based or something, you bring in what is relevant for you. Bring in what is relevant for the conversation with each of these questions. There's 6 conversations altogether. We won't be having all 6 of them. But you'll get a chance to experience some of them, and I'll set up each of them as we go along. All right. Generally speaking, we'll have about 15 to 20 minutes in each small group, and we'll be looking to do groups of 3. I'll participate myself as well today, and we'll leave you to self-manage in there. Here goes the thing: talk about whatever needs to be talked about. I will give you the question, but it is your space for us to come together. All right. Awesome. So the first question that we are going to explore today is in the conversation of invitation. And when it comes to invitation, how we invite people into an experience with us actually sets a tone and is part of the restorative process as well. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to explore one question in particular. That question, I have it written down. Let me just make sure I'm using the language. There it is. The question is, why was it important for you to be here today? Why was it important for you to be here today? You'll notice with these questions here, we're specifically looking for powerful questions that are ambiguous. I'm not going to ask if that makes sense to you or not, right? That are ambiguous in their nature. They put you in a state of ownership, and they're also confronting as well. We're specifically looking for those types of questions in this space here.
I'm going to challenge you on this.
Please do.
What was important about being here today? I think in this kind of space, why should come out of it intentionally, because this is what was important about. We're not going for justification. We're going for a declaration and a statement of what was important. So, I mean, you may choose the language to stay. I'm challenging it.
Thank you. I appreciate your challenge on that. I'm going to stay with the question that I have, but I think that what you're saying, what you're stating there is really valid. So whatever it is that's going to help you to have the conversation that needs to have, please bring that in. I appreciate you bringing that into this space, David. I think that's very helpful. All right. So why was it important for you to be here today? I'm going to put us into small groups here. We'll be in there for 15 minutes. We'll be in groups of 3, and then we'll come back together in 15 minutes and continue on from there. I believe this should be, yes. I will come and join. You'll see me join one group a little bit later after I get everyone else into it, okay? When this ends, you do not need to come in. You'll get a 60-second timer. You can just let the time run out, and it'll come to you automatically, okay? All right, let's do this.
Niiamah.
Okay, so I see what happened there because I came out. I was like, why is everyone else back here? This is supposed to be like my time to bring myself. So when I leave a room, apparently, or if I click the leave the room through the button, it's like, well, if he's done, clearly everyone else must be. So I will find another way to leave the room going forward. Bear with me as we do that.
No worries.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're here. We're here now.
Surprise.
We're gonna dance at the moment, Niiamah.
I love coming back out of these sessions because it's always like after the first breakout room, it's just like smiles again, like we're here. Like so let's do this here. What I want to do is I want to give us a chance to do some shares before we go into our next breakout conversation. I want to do and the reason for these shares here is not just that it's a meaningful, like convenient way of doing it. And you're going to find that I'm trying to do a better job of explaining why I do what I do. And the element here of us doing these shares together here is that we each had our own small group experience, but every small group is a microcosm of the world, right? And for us to know that the things that happen in our small groups, there were other conversations that were taking place with other people who are also in there. We are sharing in that experience together from that place. We can know in connection that even though we weren't a part of the same small group, that we are all a part of this thing together. And that's important because at the end of this here, it's like this goes to depth over scale. This goes down to the element of like, if we can this is how you scale the depth. It's how you multiply the depth. So I want to make sure I'm calling that out in particular. What I like to do is 2 elements here. First thing is that I want to go around here and give everyone just a chance to just like to just speak themselves into the room with one word, right? This would just be, and then we'll do some shares on our small group experience just now. The word I like to just say is just what's the feeling that you're feeling in your body. It's a sensation. It might be an emotion. I'll leave it kind of open there, but what's the feeling that you're feeling in your body in this current moment? And I choose to give everyone a chance to speak themselves in the room so that this becomes our space and it isn't like Niiamah is choosing who has the mic and who doesn't. I really want to, when we're here, for it to be our space together, right? So I will do this in the order of my squares because it's just easier for me. So we'll start with Dorothy, then we'll go on to DTK and then Elaine.
One word?
One word.
I'm curious.
DTK. Thank you. Elaine and then Brooke.
I didn't hear DTK.
Ease. Just a nice
Ease. Thank you. I actually thought your word was a hand signal, and I was like, oh, that's so DTK right there. Like, okay, ease it is. It's the other part of being that smooth. Thank you.
Yeah, this is my world. My role in the world is to translate DTK.
Thank you, Elaine.
Love.
Thank you. Brooke, and then Jody.
Enormity.
I would say excited.
Nice. Brandy, and then Jen, and then Saba.
Sponge. Oh, me. Engaged.
Saba.
I'd say hopeful.
Wonderful. Great. And for me, it's evolving is the word. So now let's come in here and let's come together from our group experience. This is not a time to report on what took place in there. What I would invite instead is for us to continue to build our depth and connection and relationship with each other by sharing here an impact that you had as a result of this conversation. When we come into the large group discussions, we're not here to share anyone else's experience or what anyone else said. When I feel like we're going to go into that direction, you will see me pause. I might interrupt you in the middle of your sentence to do that. But like I want to make sure we honor the integrity of the small groups and the spaces that people have decided to go and share there. You are 100% open, able to share your own experience. That's fine. We'll just look at it and see, like, time-wise, like how much time can we give to it there. So I would ask that you be mindful of that, but don't hold yourself back to make it too succinct. Okay, we'll take about 2 people now, and then we'll move into our next conversation here. So would anyone like to share about the impact that they got as a result of being in this conversation? And by invitations, while you do it, like, make it as specific as you dare. Hi, Dorothy.
I'll go. So Brooke posited really simple yet powerful question about invitation, which led to sort of a different perspective. Well, one was, what am I, by the actions that I choose, what is the universe inviting me? What space is the universe inviting me into explore? And then from there, it sort of, it sort of evolved into this discussion.
Dorothy, may I ask really quickly?
Yeah.
Because I feel right now that you're letting me know what's happening. What was the impact of the conversation? What was the impact of either the question or what evolved afterwards?
It made me so I was about to say that it made me really think about the word invitation in the context of who has the power. And that especially, you know, when I think about issues of race, we talk about inviting people to have a conversation that is uncomfortable. But part of the reason why people of color feel, I can only speak for myself, so I'll just speak for myself. It feels very heavy because yet again, I'm the one who has to do the heavy lifting to create the space for the people in power to come into my space so I can tell them what it's like. When I really think it is about the people in power who do hold the power, that they should be creating the space and inviting me in so they can grow. Does that make sense?
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it just feels very heavy.
And Dorothy, let me ask: are you open to someone bringing curiosity? You did ask if it made sense. If are you open to someone bringing a curious question?
Sure. I mean, it was the word I used.
Okay, yeah. If you're good with it, we're good. But if there is anyone here that has a question for Dorothy, maybe we'll just play this in real time. Is there any follow-up question? We don't need to have one, but if so, okay, great. So let's just pause here, Dorothy. Like you asked the question, does it make sense? Didn't look like there was any questions that came out of that there. So thank you for holding and stating what was true. It looks like you got perhaps an answer in that second part as well. Thank you. Let's do one more share. What was the impact of this conversation on you? What's something that I'll leave it at that. Impact of the conversation on you. You can just unmute yourself in this case and go.
The impact of at least my group, was that I realized how much we all want to get to a different place, like regardless of politics or geography. There's this collective desire to understand how we got to this point and to have some direction and guidance on how to get to a different point. So that was the aha moment for me.
Thank you, Brandy. Thank you. Great. So we're getting started here. What I'll say is, like, we take the time throughout any of this time. If you need to, like, go to the restroom, take a break, do whatever it is, like, take 30 seconds, like, go ahead and do that. Keep yourself fresh through. We're about halfway through our conversation thus far. But just do what you need throughout this space to stay energized. And I'll also be looking to see it. I think at the end of our next conversation, we'll do something to kind of shift, kind of continue to move the energy around. All right. What I want to do is give us a chance to go back into a conversation now. And what are the impacts of being in the small group for me? I wasn't anticipating being in it. So I think it actually was really wonderful for me, because I got to play from the standpoint of not having a prepared response either. And it was in being in the space of that balance of tackling the issues while also building the relationship and connection as well. All right. I want to give us a set of questions here from the 6 conversations that come from Peter Block. The 6 conversations are the invitation conversation, the possibility conversation, where we look to orient ourselves toward what it is that we actually are looking to create. The conversation, I had all of them listed right here beforehand. The conversation of ownership, where we take and we realize our role in all this, and take ownership of what's taken place around us. The conversation of dissent, and the conversation of commitment and gifts. For this next set of conversations, I think it would be really, especially given the space that we're in around in America and beyond, I think that what I like to do is focus on us having a conversation on ownership and a conversation on dissent right now. One of the reasons that dissent is really interesting to me is that the authentic expression allows room for your no to be a no. We have an opportunity to vote, and we can choose one way or another. Our no's can be a no. Inauthentic dissent is an expression of denial of resignation. Well, there's nothing that I can do about this here, so I'm not going to do it. That is not the same. That does not have the same level of power of saying I have chosen something differently. Denial, denying. Well, that isn't how it is, because that's not the experience. And to be honest, I feel like there's a lot of pain that people feel through the inauthentic expression of dissent. Of the stance of being denied their own lived experience, or in their own what's it called? I saw DTK's message. That's not how it is for me, so that's not how it is. Exactly. Right.
It's the lack of validation.
Yeah, it's like diminishing and denying all at the same time.
Yeah. Right. And I want to make sure we're having some space to have some conversations around that as well, and to see what evolves from our space as a result of that. So the dissent conversation really does feel it feels really important. Since we've touched on it, I think it might make sense for us to go there first, and then we'll have the next conversation will be the ownership conversation, and we'll end for today. All right. I would like to, let's see here, we have this time. I would like to incorporate one other element here, which is the gifts conversation. The gifts conversation is one of the strongest things in terms of actually restoring our communities, restoring the hearts and souls of when we're together. And the objective of the gift conversation is to unsurface the gifts of others, right? And to take the gifts of those who are on the margin and bring them into the center. Put it out another way, yes. I love DTK. I'm glad you're here.
Say it again.
Yeah, I'll say it again, and then I'll put it another way. To the purpose of the gift conversation is to unsurf the gifts and take the gifts of those that are on the margin and bring them into the center. All right. So what we're looking to do here is, if you spend time with me, you'll know that I'm always looking for what makes you different, because I actually experience people looking for commonality as a way of othering me, because I'm typically not common. Like that's just not the place that I choose to play in. And so what I want to do is give us that space of really seeing each other's gifts, because that's like, I've been saying this here. I think there's some thought leadership that'll come out, but it's like, to me, inclusion is a two-way street. It's the role of the leader to create a space that can be inclusive of others, so that others can show up. And it's the role of I want to say the other leader, the people who are like, because I love to live in that kind of place. The role of those who are currently who are in that space, to bring what makes them unique, bring out their unique contributions in that space. And I can tell whether or not inclusion lives in this space or not, based on whether or not people are willing to show up with their uniqueness. And if that isn't there, then you haven't actually accomplished the inclusive space that you're looking for. So what I'd like to do is just give us a chance, without having a full gifts conversation. At the end of each of our conversations today, the next two conversations, I'll leave about 3 minutes. You'll see the 3-minute time down instead of the 60-second timeout. And if we get pulled out, I'll bring you back in so we can have this. At the last 3 minutes, once you see the rooms closed, take that time to share the gift that someone in your small group has given you. It can be big, it can be small. My invitation here is to make it count. We do not get enough time of quality feedback, or what I call feed forward. So take the time, make it specific. Let them know that they are seen and that they are heard, and they will likely never, if you're really doing this here, if you're really sharing a gift, they may not even know that they may not even know that they had that impact there. So we'll have that as something that we have underneath all that we do going forward. When we leave, the last 3 minutes will be about sharing a gift that you got from it. Okay. All right. So here we go. We'll move now into the conversation of dissent, and bring in whatever you need to make this part of the conversation powerful for you. Okay. Let me pull up the questions here. I'm going to give you, I think I'll copy them into here right now. Yes. Okay. So there are a few different questions related to the conversation of dissent. I'll bring out 3 for us here. I'll copy and paste them into the chat so you can refer back to them inside of your small groups. Right? The first question that we'll look at is, what is the no or refusal that you keep postponing? What is the no or refusal that you keep postponing? I'll put that into the chat right now.
In relationship to anything specific, or is that a broad in general?
What I have found, I got a chance to go through an experience of this just the last week. The question itself is a broad in general. We are here for a reason, you know. So the context of this space allows you to bring in, like, the part of it is to have the conversations we couldn't normally have, right? So feel free to if there is a no that fits within that space, choose courage over confidence in terms of, is this even allowed here, and bring it into the space. The other objective here is for us to actually do the soul healing. So, like, understanding where people are in terms of making their decisions, what actually might be driving their decisions, that like we might be able to find out more through these lines of questions than we would if we tried to address the issue head on. So we're trying to see if we can get a few things beneath there. All right. So my invitation here, and this is the thing I'm playing with in this conversation. There'll be a feedback after this here to let me know, like, okay, did it work or not? But I'm going to give you the broader questions, and I'm going to invite you to bring in what's real, knowing that this space has room for whatever needs to be addressed in here. Right. Awesome. So the first dissent question is, what is the no or refusal that you keep postponing? The second question is, what forgiveness are you withholding? What forgiveness are you withholding? Actually, I can just copy and paste without typing. What forgiveness are you withholding? And then the last one is, what resentment are you holding that no one knows about? Now, you do not need to answer all 3 of these questions. They're just to give you some things that you can navigate here in this conversation. All right. So, what is the no or refusal that you keep postponing? What forgiveness are you withholding? And what resentment are you holding that no one knows about? My invitation here is to use this time they're brought in ascendant difficulty. And my invitation is to use this time to explore what will be meaningful for you. All right. We'll have about 15 minutes. We'll go after the 12-minute mark. We will start. You'll see the close down, and we'll be back in this space in that time. All right. You will be put into different breakout rooms, and this is important so that we can. It's intentional. We are choosing different breakout rooms so that each time we come together, I do not get the opportunity to do 3 minutes. So you only get a 2-minute countdown. Okay. But each time we come together, I want to give us an opportunity of continuing to meet new people and engage in the conversation in different ways. So it looks as though we have gotten different rooms. Let's see. All right, I did two shakeups. So hopefully this works this time. All right. And with that there, we will begin this next conversation. Good to see you all here. This one, I feel, I'm looking at the time here. I feel like I'm caught between, do we go in another conversation or not? Let me just check. Did we have enough time for that conversation? Did we need anything more? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give us.
No, not enough time. Yes, we needed more.
Yes, you needed more. All right. Good to see you. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing your presence to all of this here. So what we're gonna do here is let's finish off here with having a conversation together here. We don't need to go back into another room here. We can share what I would say is share any insights you got from that conversation, and share any other parts that you'd like to continue about that conversation here. And we'll take another about 10 minutes to do that, and then we'll wrap up for today. All right. Thank you all for playing. Does anyone have anything they want to share?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm super shy. No, we had a conversation, and I realized that there's a I'm stuck in the letting go piece. I think we had a conversation that really ended up trickling down to, where's the simplest place that we can agree? Where's the simplest place that we can find common ground? And that idea of, what if we just agreed on not hurting people? And what I realize is that we're in a ginormous values clash, because there are values that different spots on the political spectrum hold that are inherently useful and serve those in that spot on the spectrum, but by their very nature and belief system hurt others. And it makes it very hard for me, not hard in general, it makes it hard for me to find empathy and curiosity. And I'll make it super personal. Elaine and I have a trans child who just got married 20 days ago. We have a queer child and our youngest who decided that he needed to come out as straight, right? And so the idea that marriage looks one way and not any other way is inherently destructive, psychologically destructive to others. And to say, I just have this belief and that's just the way it is inherently hurtful. So even though we can agree on the idea that we don't want to hurt anybody, it's our other values that become bully values and force out things where we can find commonality around. And it's frustrating, and it's hard for me in those situations, to make it real, to find empathy or commonality or curiosity
Or forgiveness.
or forgiveness.
Can I ask a question, David?
Shoot.
So when you say that, and this is just curiosity for me,
Sure.
You what I heard you say was that on the political spectrum of people, with the varying beliefs, maybe decisions that they make and the values that they hold, do you I don't know if I'm going to ask this question right, so forgive me. Do you assume that if people in general have a different overall political philosophy to you, that they automatically don't agree with you on that subject?
No, I
Okay.
believe that if they say they believe, for instance, in that situation, in marriage is only between a man and a woman.
Right.
I don't care where they are on the political spectrum on that social issue.
So so it's on a particular issue. Okay, so just for
using
example,
that as an example.
All right, I'm curious because I've seen your posts about your family. I'm intrigued by how that works. I don't have a lot of exposure to that, but I am generally conservative, but I have totally open mind about how people live their lives. So I'm curious about other people and how they choose to I don't have exposure to a lot of it, but I do have curiosity about it. And I just, sometimes I, and this is just coming from me, I appreciate what you said, because those conversations are really hard to have. When you don't know whether or not, like, for example, if you thought I generally had political philosophies that were different from you, how could you engage in a conversation with me about what your what a big issue is for you that I may not come your way on? And
right, it could change the way I ask the question.
Right.
Do you believe X, or are you open to Y? I mean, I could ask it different ways. And if I look at you and go, oh, well, you support so-and-so, so you must be right. And yes, I've had the tendency to do that.
Okay. Yeah. I just, because I one of the challenges that I have is feeling put in boxes or put in a particular general bucket when I'm kind of all over the place and really what I think. It leads me to certain decisions, but it doesn't, I want to have these kind of open dialogues with people, because I love the difference in people. I even love the political difference in people, because I like the way the human mind works and how we get to the place that we get. And I I have such a heart for people that go out and want to live their lives differently and uniquely and really just like talk about being someone that risks everything to express who they are. It makes my unwillingness to express who I am seem like so small when I think about the courage that it takes and to
let us introduce you to our eldest.
So can I say something here? Because what I hear is an implicit assumption that we're talking about a choice.
No,
About people making a choice about how they want to live their lives.
No, I didn't mean to imply that. Yeah, I didn't mean to imply that.
Okay, that's the language I heard you use.
I'm not really skilled at using good language. So
that's okay. It's okay.
The topic. No, I understand.
Okay, we're working on it too.
Yeah, I understand that it's not a choice but it could be in times past choosing to be public about it, choosing to just live in the world with it and be visible in it. That seems, people used to make a choice other than that.
People still make a choice other than that because it's dangerous.
And that's super
and it's life-threatening.
That's the part that's super destructive, is when people are left making a choice to hide who they are, and whether it's sexuality, whether it's gender, whether it's faith, whether it's how they observe anything,
whether it's race,
they're choosing to hide because of the reaction they fear they're going to get. That is horrible. Our synagogue, one of the things it has in every ceremony is the prayer for hiding. And it's specifically about that, is may we not live in a time where there's any segment of our population that wants to hide a specific element of who they are at their core, for fear of their safety.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
There's this like theme of wonder and awe like playing in my head right now. I look forward to a time where being whatever we are, and I don't mean particular gender, like just being Brandy, Dorothy, GTK, Lane, is not a matter of bravery. It's just a matter of breathing. And I get why at this time certain things are considered a matter of bravery. I mean, existing as a trans person in this country is dangerous. And to stand in the face of danger to just exist in your happiness, that I can see as a matter of bravery, but it shouldn't be. And I wonder if we can get to a place of just being in wonder and awe at the vast creation. And I personally am a Christian. I am in awe of a God that could create all of this. Every single person here, as far as I'm concerned, is created by the same God that creates the ocean that I look at every day in its vastness. And if we could get to that same level of wonder and awe with each other that I have in the morning when I look at that ocean, it doesn't matter whether you think or you understand how it came to be. Because how it comes to be, whatever we are, is beyond our understanding in the face of a creator that could do all of this. I think personally, some of our issues is that we try and bring the breadth of creativity from a divine standpoint into a human level of understanding. We're trying to take something divine and make it equal to you and I. And so if we can just be in awe of the divinity of everything around us. I mean, we stand in nature and we talk about how awesome the trees are in the sky, but like, that is how awesome each of us are, unique in our own way. And whatever the complexities of our existence are, that's not for me to figure out. If I love the creator, then I have to love its creation. And there's no questioning. So I wonder and hope that we can get to a point when we talk about values, that it's not about Christian values, whatever, but the value of just understanding that something bigger than us brought us here for this moment. And that if we can't even define what it is and agree upon what it is, then that is how awe-inspiring that thing is. Mm. And just live in the divinity of our existence. You know, it's my biggest source of frustration. You know, I have a sister that's gay, and as a devout Christian family, people have asked us how we dealt with it. And I was like, what is there to deal with? Mm. She's my sister. She's my dad's daughter. Like, what we deal with is the love we have for each other. What we deal with is that, you know, she doesn't clean her room. Like, that's what we deal with. Right? We deal with that, you know, other things, not that. Because the love supersedes. And so we've made these cliches out of like love wins and love is love. But really, if we think about what that is, we're speaking to the divinity of this thing that we all share, which is that we understand what it means to be so small in the greatness of something so miraculous. That's all I have to say to that.
Yeah, that's all. Nothing much.
Sorry for the tears.
No, I think I just
don't ever apologize for tears in this room.
Here, Brandy.
Damn.
Yeah. Brandy, yeah, like, please, like, I'm gonna invite you to just take a look around the screens here. Here.
I can't because I'll cry more.
Yeah. There's I want to thank you all for owning this. You'll have, like, you can come back and watch the recordings. Like, there's all throughout this conversation, we are impacting each other, right? And it's really important, like, that we call this out. We said depth over scale at the beginning, and this right here is reminding me of what that means, what that really means for us to be healed with one another, so that we can go out and continue to be here and continue to go forth here. I want to say that I'm honored to be in this space with each of you here. There's more, like, I get Brandon, I was having a conversation and she said, like, you're really good at getting people undone. I understand that. It wasn't in this conversation, it was another conversation. And so I recognize that we're in this space of being undone a bit here. And we're also going to be closing this conversation, this specific space down soon, right? My invitation here is to not try and bring yourself back together very quickly, or to recome in, but to allow this to play out. All I ask is for the next 24 hours to allow yourself to be in the undone state and to see how you can experience the world. How might your conversations change? What would it be like if you were able to be in conversations such that this level of honesty and openness was part of it? Because I'm here, and even amongst people who are well-intentioned and have shown up to be with one another, there's still a lot more understanding that we're searching for. And as we get there, in each and every part, we become more and more connected and more related, and that will continue to grow. That will continue to happen. I want to make sure that I don't leave you hanging with what do we do with all this here? What you do is you be with it for now. What you do is you be with it. We are changing hearts and souls here. That is not easy work. You're changing hearts and souls. And I really acknowledge you for stepping into this and being in that space here. We'll have another space for us available next week to come back again in these melting pot conversations. Please continue inviting people that you think should be a part of this conversation. Like, each time we do it, I'm still experimenting. I would love to get your feedback. I'll ask for some feedback to see, like, where we should take things. This time we kept it very open. We brought in things as we needed to. We might flip it around the next time we go around here. I'm learning as well. What does it actually look like to restore the soul of a nation? I've never done that work before. You know, and yet at the same time, we're doing it right now in this moment. So I honor you all. I want to make sure that you know, like the practice here is to be with this right now, and just and observe how this impacts the next 24 hours, how you choose to be in here. Maybe evening time for a lot of you. So when you wake up tomorrow, it's like to be in this space and to know that this kind of connection is possible. Because I don't think a lot of people, like, I'm so surprised by the number of people I talk to who are like, it just isn't even possible. We've just done it. We've just done it. Our only job now is just to keep doing it, just to keep doing it. So you have an opportunity that, again, next week, I forget what the date is in particular, but you'll get an email around that. I'm looking for some feedback to see how we can continue to make this powerful. Please invite anyone else that you feel would love to be a part of this community and over time. And if you want like a longer period of time to work on this stuff here, where we're building out different tools and different practices for you to walk away with, I'm using next weekend to put together an intensive where I'm bringing together a small group of people for several hours to do a variety of different conversations and equip us with the tools here. These are all leaders who have said it is our time to do something about this, and I want to make sure I'm working forth with them. So we have our ongoing conversations, but there is also an intensive that's happening next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. So if you have any questions about that, you'll see some additional information. All right.
Our
Okay,
next time you have it scheduled for Wednesday night or your Thursday morning, Niiamah.
Thank you. So next time it's Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern is our next conversation. And, other than that, we've gone past the top of the half hour, so we'll close this space down. Know that that I honor you all, and there's much love that comes here. We can just unmute our mics here and just and share the love that you're experiencing right now. Share what you're experiencing, either a word or phrase. Let's just say goodbye to each other until the next time we come together. Go ahead and unmute.
Guys, thanks. It's been brilliant. More to come.
Wonderful.
Most certainly. Thank you all.
Have a good week.
You too.
Night or morning.
Or morning.